So, today we're diving into a really powerful idea from neuroscience, and honestly, it might just change how you think about, well, everything. Your brain, what intelligence even is, and reality itself. Let's jump right in.
It all kicks off with this massive question. It's something philosophers have been wrestling with for literally thousands of years. But now, science is starting to give us a pretty shocking answer. Are you really seeing the world as it is, or is something else going on entirely?
You know, to really get a feel for the challenge here, neuroscientist David Eagleman came up with this brilliant analogy. Studying the brain is incredibly hard because it's completely locked away inside our skulls. All the amazing tech we have, our EEGs, our MRIs, they're basically just microphones we're holding up to the outside of a giant stadium. We can hear the crowd go wild, maybe the faint crack of a bat, but we can't actually see the game. We have to piece it all together from these indirect, muffled clues. And that leads us straight to our first big idea, the prediction problem. Think about it. If your brain is only getting this limited, noisy, secondhand information, how on earth does it manage to create this stable, vibrant, totally coherent reality that you and I experience every single second of the day?
What's so wild is that this is not a new problem. Not at all. As you can see here, way back in ancient Greece, thinkers from Plato to the Stoics were already asking these same questions. Hey, can we even trust our senses? How do we build a reliable picture of the world? This has been a puzzle for humanity for millennia. So the modern answer from neuroscience basically flips that whole ancient idea on its head. Your brain isn't just some passive window sitting there and recording whatever comes in through your eyes and ears. Nope. It's more like an active artist who is constantly, and I mean constantly, painting a detailed model of the world. And here's the kicker. That model is your reality.
So that brings us to our second section, the mind's reality. Because to really understand how the brain pulls off this incredible trick of building a world, it's actually super helpful to look at what happens when that process goes wrong. And this is where we see two major ways that internal model can break down. A delusion, that's a flaw in the thinking part of the model. It's a deeply held false belief. But a hallucination, that's a flaw in the perceiving part. You're actually seeing or hearing something that isn't there. Both are just these really powerful, if unsettling, reminders that the reality we experience is a construction. Okay, so this all leads to this huge, really tantalizing question. What if there was one single, elegant principle that could explain all of it? A kind of grand, unified theory for life that explains how we perceive, how we learn, how we act, and even how those processes can sometimes fail. Which brings us right to section 3, a unifying principle. And this is where we meet the hero of our story, a powerful, all-encompassing theory from neuroscience that tries to do exactly that. It's called the free energy principle. Okay, don't get thrown by the name. Free energy is just a technical term from statistics. For our purposes, you can just think of it as a fancy word for surprise, or prediction error. The core idea is that the most fundamental drive for any living thing, from a single-celled organism all the way up to you, is to minimize surprise, to make the world as predictable as possible, because a predictable world is a safe world. So you see, this idea completely changes the game. The brain isn't just sitting back, waiting for information to come in from the senses before it decides what to do. No way. It's on the offense. It's constantly generating predictions about what it expects to see, hear, and feel in the very next moment. It's a prediction machine. So what happens when what you actually see doesn't match what you predicted you'd see? Well, that mismatch creates something called a prediction error. And to you and me, that just feels like surprise. And the brain hates surprise. It immediately works to get rid of it in one of two ways. It can either update its internal model to be more accurate, which is what we call learning, or it can act on the world to make the world match its prediction. This is why we love routines and seek out familiar things. It's our brain trying to keep surprise at bay. Okay, I know this might sound a little abstract, but that brings us to our fourth section, active inference in action. Because this single principle has some incredibly practical, real-world applications in places you would never expect. So let's make this super concrete. Picture an autonomous drone, a robot geologist. Its mission is to find a specific rare mineral in a huge rocky landscape. It
can't just dig up the whole place, right? It has to make smart choices, balancing the need to explore brand new areas with exploiting sites that already look promising. Active inference is literally the algorithm that tells the robot how to make the most efficient choice to minimize its surprise about where that mineral is hiding. So here's how it actually thinks. You can see the loop right here. First, it predicts what it might find in different spots. Then, in step 2, it calculates the best possible balance between learning something new and actually getting closer to its goal. Step 3, it picks the action, the spot to investigate, that it predicts will minimize its future surprise the most. And finally, step 4, it sees what's actually there and uses that info to update its internal map. It's just this constant loop of predict, act, learn, repeat.
But here's where it gets really wild. This isn't just for advanced robots exploring Mars or whatever. This exact same principle, this drive to minimize surprise, is at the very heart of how we manage massive organizations and factories right here on Earth. Just look at this table. The parallels are kind of crazy. In a factory, what's a prediction error? Well, it's a part that doesn't meet the expected specifications, a non-conformance report. And when the engineers analyze what went wrong and update the process, that's just their version of learning. And changing what the machines are doing, that's their version of acting. And you know that term, firefighting? That's what happens when an organization is getting overwhelmed by too many surprises and just gets stuck reacting, which absolutely kills efficiency.
So, we've gone from the human brain to robots to factories.
The principle holds, but maybe the most profound, the most important application of all lies in shaping the very future of artificial intelligence.
Because right now, we're looking at two very different paths for AI. On one side, you have today's large language models, and they're amazing, but they're fundamentally just very sophisticated word predictors. They're trained on a static snapshot of the internet, and they can't really learn on the fly. But on the other side, you have the vision of an AI built on active inference. This wouldn't be a word predictor. It would be a true world modeler. An AI designed from the ground up to handle novelty, to deal with surprise, and to constantly update its understanding of the world in real time.
All right, let's bring this all home in our final section, the future of intelligence. After this whole journey through philosophy and robotics and AI, let's circle all the way back to that very first question we asked at the beginning. So, after everything we talked about, what's the answer? Is the world you experience out there the real world? According to this whole theory of the predictive mind, the answer is a pretty definitive no. We don't just passively receive reality through our senses like a camera. We actively generate it from the inside out. In a way, your perception is a kind of controlled hallucination. It's a fantasy, but one that's constantly being reined in and corrected by sensory information from the real world, all in the service of predicting what's going to happen next. And I'll leave you with this last truly mind-bending quote from Carl Friston, the architect of this whole theory. He suggests that consciousness itself, that feeling of being you, is nothing more than your brain making inferences about its own future. It's the process of modeling the consequences of what you could do next. It's a staggering thought. It suggests that our very sense of self is the ultimate prediction.